trying to live more like Jesus every day, and I'm looking a little bit more like Jesus every day. Either that or an evil villain. How's everybody doing today? It is time for another team review, league rankings, week 6 power rankings, confetti, sparkles, explosion. Let's get it on the road. Let's try to make it shorter than last time. So we're going to go ahead and start off with everybody's favorite tier name, Sunflora tier. We also got the Love Disc in there because people also refer to it as Love Disc tier. I'm a bigger fan of Sunflora tier, but we got the both 1 and 5 teams, Zeal Zoroarks and Rogue Greninjas. So Zeal Zoroarks have some really strong wall breakers, but he does not utilize the tools of his team. So he has strong wall breakers, but he doesn't do any strong wall breaking. Thus, he tends to lose more than he wins. And his only win is very narrowly against the Bristol Snovers, who are inconsistently incredible and incredibly inconsistent. So they have big wins and also really big losses, and this is one of their big losses. So besides that very narrow win over them, like, this is a 1 and 5 team. And Rogue Greninjas, we call this the don't freeze dry me offense because he's got like no ice resist, and with the freeze dry it's like everything dies, like everything's dead. So just bring freeze dry against him and you should have a pretty good time. He needs to prep more, and he needs to keep his mons alive more. He's prone to sacking a lot of things, so we don't want to sack things, we want to keep them alive and we want to keep it going. So this is your Sunflora tier teams, much smaller than last time. We did a lot of shifting around, so also remember, these are still not set in stone. These can move any direction. You can move up the tiers, you can move down the tiers, and we did have some big moves this time around because week 3 I was wrong about many teams. So Venomville Vileplumes, probably the most controversial placement right here. The Venomville Vileplumes, they're currently 4 and 2, but I put them in the second lowest tier. I put them in tier because they got this whack stall team that I just cannot see winning in playoffs. Like, it's so easy to break stall in a draft format because you know exactly what they have. You can prep just for like cheesy stall sets. You can have really crap really crap stall breaking sets that would never work against any other team, and you can't bring them in a real match because usually if you're playing on ladder or something, you're playing in a different tournament, you don't know if your opponent's going to bring stall. But with Venomville Vileplumes, they're going to bring some whack stall team with Mega Medicham and like Dialga, which is super weird. I don't see the it's not cohering well to me, and I don't like it in draft format, and their manager just resigned, so they have a very uncertain future. Tier, even though they're 4 and 2. That's my power rankings, that's my opinion. If you disagree with me, you can do that. Mighty Monfernos, amazing team. Really, really cool team. They got the bulky, grassy terrain team with the Reshiram and the Tapu Bulu and something else that really Tyranitar. Very, very, very cool team synergy. Really like it. And newer player, he was 0 and 5 to start off, but he just had a really, really big win for week 6. So if he can learn the ropes, he can be really dangerous coming up this season, and I would not sleep on him because he's got a great team, and it's just a matter of time before he starts wrecking us all. So tier right now, but I definitely see him moving up if he just starts getting on a roll, especially off a momentum win like that. Last in tier is Texas Tauros, also 1 and 5. He's got a sort of hyper offense team with Mimikyu, Garchomp, and then he's got like Mega Aggron, which is like, it sucks all of the momentum out of the way, and it's just like, that's kind of a weird pick. So I really think you should trade the Mega Aggron and just go like full HO. Usually I would tell people to go for more bulkier teams, especially in draft format, so they have more options. But I think I like his team with HO tricks, kind of like Mimikyu, that really helps it become a viable format so they don't just get steamrolled by other teams. I definitely think if he goes more HO, he can start winning more games. And he had all close games, really. Like, all his games tend to be very close. He had a really bad loss to Rogue Greninjas, who are in the Sunflora tier, but basically, besides that, like, every game is very, very close. So I can definitely see him just starting to win. I think he's just got to tighten up a few screws and maybe fix the team up a little bit, and can definitely move up. This is the 2 and 4 tier because everybody here is 2 and 4. And there's actually a decent amount of teams, and this was originally, I think, C tier, but now it's 2 and 4 tier because I wanted more snazzy names. So Motor City Mamoswines, very hyper offensive team, and they've had a big win against Brooklyn Diggersby, who is a very high ranked team. Barbarical just shell smashed and won the whole game. So I think what he can do to be better is stop throwing mons away and learn to switch around better. And I think that's a lot of people in this league, that people are too willing to sack mons. And I think people need to do a lot more strategic switching and think about what's the end game. What's my way of winning this when everything is said and done, and you have to keep those win conditions alive. So next is Bristol Snovers, inconsistently incredible and incredibly inconsistent. They got big wins and bad losses. So I think they just beat Houston Heracross, and I don't know if that was week 6 or week 7. I think it was week 6. But anyway, it just brings some big HO, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I mean, honestly, just do it, but do it better. Like, if you wanna play HO, you just have to make big predictions. So predict more and play a step ahead of your opponent. Play nutty, and that's what you got to do to win with HO. So maybe if he starts winning, he can definitely move up. That's the worst advice ever. Just start winning. The advice would be to play one step ahead. Don't throw mons away. Play one step ahead and be more predictive about what's going on here. Next, Belper Beedrills. Very underperforming to what I thought. I thought they were going to be a very top-level team because they have this Broken Rain team with Kyogre and Zygarde 50% and Mega Metagross. And it's just like, with that kind of team, you should just have your team carry you through games. Like, you should have just some matchups that you don't lose. And really, he just needs to prep and play better. There's not much else I can say to that. Just prep and play better. Your team's super good. Like, if you put more time into it and just think about your plays more and just play more careful, I think you'll definitely start winning more. And then finally, we have last team in 2 and 4 tier, which is the Missourian Megas. I would say they are a utility offense, similar to how I talked about the Houston Heracross in the first game. So they just have like a toolbox kind of offense. They got this mon that can take down your team, this mon that can take down your team, and it really gives a lot of creativity for building, but you also kind of have to be one step ahead of your opponent. Again, with offense, you always have to be a step ahead of your opponent, because if you're not, you're going to be on the back foot and your mons die a lot faster than your opponents. They had a big win against the Sin City Greninjas recently, but I think they need to go back a little bit on the offense and kind of go a little bit more towards the bulk side just to have a better team synergy. So first power rankings, I said Blacephalon for Celesteela, and I agree still. Celesteela, I don't know how it's not picked up, but I definitely think you should go Blacep for Celesteela. It can go on the offense, it can go on the defense, and I think it'll just synergize with his team a whole lot better. So this is the Porygon 2 tier, because it is ranked kind of a little bit in the middle, but it's just a beast, and if you bring it, it like doesn't die. So Porygon 2 tier. Terrible Totodiles. 4 and 2, so they're doing really well. I think they've had a lot of wins against like the lower tier teams, but I mean, they're winning, and they got a weird team. They got like bulky webs kind of thing. I don't really know what's going on, but he's bringing such creative sets. He's bringing Curse Umbreon, and he's bringing a Calm Mind Lugia, and he's doing it. Like, he's playing well. I said he needs to play Mega Sableye better. I actually think he recently traded Mega Sableye for Mega Manectric, which is kind of cool because he has Tapu Koko, so he can kind of Thunderbolt spam. So he's just got this weird offensive team, and I think he needs to stop letting his mons get toxic, play a little bit more strategic so he can keep his Lugia healthy and kind of throw mons away less. And I think if he threw mons away less, I think he would be absolutely like a dominant player in this league. And I mean, he's 4-2 right now, so what am I talking? Like, he's doing better than I predicted week 1, I think, or week 3, whatever. You know what I mean. P2 tier continued, Sin City Greninjas. He's got bulky Veil offense, and he's 4-2 right now, but I really think he could be higher. I think he needs to play more synergistically. You can see the little red line under synergistically because I don't think it's actually a word. We can just spell check that. Is that most? Oh, I just spelled it wrong. Synergistically is a word. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. Most professional PokeTuber ever right here. You heard it here first, folks. Not utilizing the strengths as well as he could. Whenever I watch his games, I feel like he's not getting the Veil up early. He's kind of like waiting to get Ninetales in late game, and he's like getting things burned. He's getting his Mega Mawile burned or just letting it die to things, and I'm like, you know what, dude? He also got rid of his Trick Room, so I'm like, you know what? I think you could definitely crush teams with a Mega Mawile in Aurora Veil. I think you just need to use it. I think you need to use the Aurora Veil. I think you need to either get some webs or get your Trick Room back and just get it going on there. And then next we have Jersey Dusknors. They are a very bulky offense team. They don't have an Uber, I remember that, but they do have very good team synergy with Florges and Kieran Black. Super scary. Might as well be an Uber in draft, and might as well be an Uber ever. He's like stupid powerful. So like, what comes in on a Kieran Black? He's got coverage for everything, and he just bops everything in one hit. So anyway, definitely his biggest improvement needs to come from his mental state, because I think he's one of the best players here, definitely. But he tears himself down mentally before and after matches, and that just does not prep him for a win. So he's 3-3 right now. I think he's only lost to teams above him in the rankings, but I definitely think he can beat teams above him in the rankings as well, as long as he believes in himself, kind of sets his mind straight, and just gets to it, because I think he's definitely got the ability to do it. He's a good player, preps well, can play well as long as he doesn't get in his head. So P2 tier. And now we move on to the usually win except when losing tier, because these are two really good teams. I played with them in a different league as well, and they're good friends and good players. So Houston Heracross, they have a toolbox offense like I mentioned before. They got like Deoxys Bisharp, Mega Ampharos, and all these cool things. And I think he needs to utilize his defensive backbone more. He had a Weezing. He might have just traded his Weezing. He had another few mons that were like lower tier, but the kind of lower tier mons that are really bulky and hard to kill, kind of like, so Weezing is an example. Like I mentioned with P2, I don't think he has he might have P2 actually. He or somebody else has P2, but he has that kind of like defensive backbone, and I don't think he utilizes it enough. I think he goes a little bit more on the just bulky offense side. And I think he definitely could lean a little bit more on his bulk and look for his openings a little bit better. And I think that would definitely bring him up. And he just had a really bad loss to the Bristol Snovers. And Diggersby just had a bad loss to Motor City Mammothswine. So that's why I called them the usually win except when losing tier, because they both are winning most of the time, but they've had some bad losses. Brooklyn Diggersby, Volt Turn, Hazard Stack offense. I definitely think he can utilize Wish Pass Wigglytuff more, which is funny because like Wigglytuff is his E tier, but I think Wigglytuff actually synergizes really well with his team and can prolong everything's life by just utilizing Wish Pass sets. So Wigglypuff has tons of health, a lot of bulk against more passive teams, and even like other offensive teams. Wigglytuff can definitely come in on something that it something like a ghost type that it walls and then pass a wish off to something else on its team, and I think that would be really beneficial to something like Landorus, because that just like prolongs Lando's life forever, and Lando's super bulky and has Intimidate, so I just think it synergizes really well, and I think he could really use Wigglytuff more. And the other thing he needs to do is watch out for just like cheese mountains like Barbaracle and not get swept by that, because that like totally flips a game up on its head. And finally, last but not least, we've got the overtime tier, because Clef is always working overtime. You got like 3 Clefs out here. We got 2 6-0 teams, but big game coming up in a couple of days, because me and Death Valley Heatrans are playing each other this Thursday. Be there or be square. Quoting myself again, still never bet against yourself, boys, so come watch me win on Thursday. I've got a fat offensive balance, maybe a fat balance offense, I don't know. Fat balance offense, because I'm leaning a lot more on the fat side of things, a lot of Giratina, so Giratina's just got stupid amounts of kills, and Giratina, Tapu Fini, so my team can be a little bit passive sometimes, but I think with my play style, that's just like how I've always done it. I play a battle of attrition, but not stall, because like I beat out the stall teams, but like I play like a very bulky oriented offense, more oriented towards bulk than offense typically, and then I pick my holes. At least that's how I try to play. Obviously I can lose still, but just not yet. Never bet against yourself, boys. Never bet against yourself. Death Valley Heatrans, I put them in like B tier first time around, and I was wrong, because they're winning and they keep winning, and they have not lost yet either. They're beating team by cheesing with like Cloyster and Sylveon. Like last week, I think he was like down to 1 or 2 mons, and then Sylveon just started calm minding and just like beasted the other team at the very end. So he tends to outfat the opponent, and he's just got a team that's so hard to build for. So he's got Incineroar and Mega Venusaur and Sylveon, and then all of a sudden Cloyster Shell Smashes and you're out of there. So he's got a very similar team to mine. It's kind of funny how like teams and tiers are playing very similar. So I'm playing like a fat balanced offense, he's playing a fat balanced offense, so you know, maybe it's just the best play style, maybe. But definitely come watch the match happening this Thursday, see one of us lose, not me, because I'm not betting against myself. You better believe it, I'm never betting against myself. But everybody, I hope you have just a freaking wonderful day. I love you all, and I hope you have a great night. Peace.